late midnighters. Again, this is a very productive day in the sense that I had to work a lot today, by the way. I did all my more than 12 hours, and then I had to prepare this, so that's why I'm starting past midnight, but I'm starting anyhow. And today is a great letter, QOF. The letter QOF, which means represents the horizon, from sea to shining sea. And how perfect that we're talking about today like this, because today celebrates the 57th year of the March of Jobs, as what was called in 1963, August 20, 1963, when Martin Luther King, when I gave that famous sermon, I have a dream and let freedom ring. We're going to hear a little portion of that because that exemplifies the way he preaches in there. He talks, let freedom ring from this mountainside to this mountainside. That's the whole idea of this letter today. Because yesterday we spoke about the letter Tzaddiq, and today we're talking about QOF, and it has to do with the picture of the sun with a line going across it. So that means like in the horizon. So it represents the whole sundial. Let me put myself here so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, let me go here to the ticker, my ticker. All right. So, we're talking about QOF. I'm going to be singing this in a couple of while. But let me get to the letter here in Hebrew so I can show you what I'm talking about with the Hebrew chart. All right, so QOF is this letter here. All right. So as you see, the sun behind time. And it's represented by this circle with a line going through. So it's represented like the whole sundial or the whole trajectory of the sun. So that once you become a Tzaddiq, that's the word we went yesterday, once you become righteous, you graduate. That was the number 18, which is the number 19 letter, which is how the number QOF is the number 100 numerical value, but it's the 19th letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and we are with the common 19 right now, right? And this is the common 19 man group, but this is now, after you become 18, you start 19, you start going out there to specialize. That's why you go to college, you go to university to specialize in something in which you're going to be like a sunlight with that degree of specialty. You're going to be a sunshine that is going to spread out, the good sunlight throughout all the earth. And that's the whole idea. So then you inherit the sea to shining sea, the sea to shining sea, like we're celebrating today, because that's the place where you're going to pour out all this understanding or all this knowledge of your maker that makes you complete, that enables you to carry all the words that express his characters in all aspects of his expression. Okay, so this is the day of QOF, the sun behind time. Once you become a Tzaddiq, like yesterday, you inherit space and time. This is the letter that refers, to distance and time. All of that become your heritage, because then you have all space and all the time at your disposal, because you've been authorized as a righteous person with the right knowledge, therefore to cause the flood, of the knowledge of God to cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. And this is the flood of life that's been promised, that we're going to bring once we get into the thorough and complete knowledge of this understanding that the Alef Beyt is supposed to bring us, the knowledge of the Father brings us. So once you become mastered in this, in the Alef Beyt, and you understand, and and so that the journey of words and journeyings, when we talk about the word Tzaddiq yesterday, has finally joined together with you. Okay, therefore, then you are lit up in the understanding and the knowledge of your Maker, and therefore you are not here in this world anymore like a black hole to suck up the life out of everything, to suck up attention from people, to suck up the usefulness of product and service and get the next upgrade and also suck it up. You're no longer a black hole like the rest of the consumerism religion that runs the planet. You're here as the sunshine, the sun from above, that's spreading, its warmth in every corner of the whole earth, and that's what we're here for. Okay, so that's the beauty of this whole thing, and that's what we need to understand. All right, so in any case, all right, let the party begin. Okay, Brian, let's get this party get started. And today is midnight, and people outside are talking, so I can sing loud. The neighbors are still awake, so I'm not too worried. That's why I started a little later today. But but in any case, I wanted to make out a good. Let me see. I want to move my camera right now that I'm here. Let me see. I can move it. Oh yeah, I can move myself a little bit. Yeah, that way I can be more like that. Yeah. So I don't have to be hiding too much from the. Perfect. I'm doing pretty good here. Not bad. All right. So this thing has that interesting how this works. Very good. I like it. Okay. So this was what we're talking about. QOF. All right. Yesterday we were Tzaddiq and righteous. And now, so once you graduated, when you were 18, you graduated from high school. That's in the equivalent of the Alef, Beyt, you become a Tzaddiq. You finally line up your desires with the desires of your Maker and your word with His words. And therefore, what awaits you, the heritage of distance, space, and time. Because that's the whole idea of QOF. It's from sea to shining sea and forevermore. That's what you inherit. Because then you're trusted with the space and time to go there and spread the Dabar, the good news. The good is tab and the bar is news, or the word. All right, so that's what we inherit, okay? And then we're gonna find out yesterday that's what the main thing that we're gonna do, and we're gonna adhere to, and we're gonna commit ourselves to. That's all the last three letters until we finish there on Monday, But we're going really strong, and it's perfect that today, It's just interesting that today is the ideal day, because today I just found out when I woke up this morning, I heard news about Al Sharpton leading this march in Washington, and it was the same thing, the same march that Martin Luther King, led 57 years ago to be exact, and it's today and on the 28th, which is for the scripture for today, QOF. It's perfect, because that's what we're talking about. And in his speech, you're gonna hear in a little while about his speech, "Let Freedom Ring." How he talks about, how he allow, okay. I suppose it says green, so I'm supposed I'm moving okay. God, I don't know if I'm buffering. I'm seeing red here. But in any event, hey, shalom, Andy. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So this is the inheritance of the Tzaddiq. If you are into the word and you have lined up, all right, you line up, then what awaits you, you become a sunlight, a sunshine. You become a sun, as a matter of fact, because now the word is in you and the character of the Maker is in you, and you're just going to shine and beam with His glory, of His, of the patience and knowledge and understanding that comes from Him. Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So that's what we're learning the letter QOF today, to understand this is the heritage that awaits you. The whole trajectory of the sun, from sunlight, from sunrise to sundown. The whole idea that's the journey, by the way, because that's in Tzaddiq. Tzaddiq ends with the letter QOF at the end. Tzaddiq, it ends with that letter. And today we're starting with that letter. So we understand that the continuation of Tzaddiq, his journey his maximum goal is to end up being like that, righteous. And I explained that yesterday. What was that about, Because the Tzaddiq, as a review, let me go back to this. I think I have it here. Let me put my mask. All right, see? I'm putting my mask. Okay, my mask is the Word of God that prevents all the stupid thoughts from the retarded garden to enter my soul. But remember, Tzaddiq, yesterday we were talking about this. The meaning of Tzaddiq, the letter before this QOF, was the itinerary of the journey, because that's what you become. You follow the journey or the itinerary, a schedule for the management or administration of the employment or use of your desires from dawn until dusk and forevermore. From dawn until dusk and forevermore, that's the picture that's the whole QOF. QOF indicates that. From dawn until dusk and forevermore. That's from sea to shining sea and forever. So that's the way to express that. So that's Tzaddiq. It ends with that QOF letter yesterday. And so today we're talking about the other letter, right? Okay, so let me see if I can remove this one here, and then we can look at the main thing of what we were working for. I think it allows me to do this. Let me see, I can do delete here. Yes, are you? Yes, I want to remove this. Okay, and this is the one I had before that. To remember, this is the reason, what we were made for and why we are learning the Alef Beyt. So we keep that in mind all the time. And as we were made for the word, that is the Dabar, in us, to be upheld and kept in the Father mode, and not for the downfall or the casting out of the Father mode. In other words, we need to acquire that mode and stay in that mode. All right? And so for the Dabar, at any time, the way, the Creator Elohenu, Adonai, looks at it, so for the Dabar, he looks at any time you're either exalting and preserving, preserving or purifying or keeping pure the Father mode, or you are eliminating and polluting and corrupting it or putrefying it. Okay, and for the Father mode, I mean to be fully activated, teaching humanity enduring riches. That means you know the knowledge of a wholesome word, so you're activated to do something in this world because you have a knowledge of something, and then you can teach humanity that knowledge, and that knowledge is enduring riches because it never fades out. It's not like money that you give away, you no longer have it. You give your knowledge away, you have it, and your neighbor has it. That's the greatest riches there are to give, is knowledge that exercises somebody to do something good. All right, so, and also, therefore, you're also fully able to help everyone rapidly. That's what the thing you can do as a father. So these are the functions of a father. So you're here to look at everything that has come out of the word, out of the wholesome word, as a child that needs your help at all times. And therefore, you can never go to a child, any word that has come into the world, and ask it to take care of you, because that is like child abuse. Okay, a word that comes out of you is a child, and it needs you to be the father to it, to always be taken care of. So all the things that proceed out of man, you have to be in the mindset of the father at all times. Okay, and desire the minimum. Discover, the lucidity of this body to be so economical. That was fasting opens up all that understanding for you and everything. Okay, so let's start singing the song for today, because once we are tzaddiks, once we have apprehended, we are what we're supposed to be when we have apprehended the knowledge of our Maker. Guess what? Then we become Israel, princes with God. All right. And the Goyim, the nations, also become, people that walk with God, because the princes with God are leading them in the right direction. Because that's what we need. The people that are princes with God, so they will know how to lead the people, because these are people that are concerned in just making sure that the Dabar is well planted in the soul and is well taken care of in the soul. And was they're always looking and always on the lookout of that. Okay, and that's what we need to have, So let me see these songs. Okay, so we're going to start with the one in the bottom. Okay, Psalm 118 verse 1. Okay. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good, because his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good, because his mercy endureth forever. Let Israel not say endureth forever, endureth forever, endureth forever. All right, that came out good. All right, so all of a sudden it got quiet outside. I don't know if they went to sleep or they were listening to me, but in any case, I don't care. It's Friday night, so I'm having a good time. I don't know about you, but I'm going to enjoy myself. I'll give you this message right now. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at QOF. Okay, right after you become a Tzaddiq, you inherit in space, distance, and time. You know, everything that covers from sea to shining sea. And that's what your inheritance is going to be, where you are the Son of God. You know, you're going to shine upon every area that is in front of you, on the side of you, behind you. Everything is going to feel the radiance and the splendor of your Maker flowing out of you. And whew, to me, that's what living is all about, fellas, you know. When you understand that that's really the reality of our existence, you know. To be that in the wholesome world at all times. And to acquire that mindset and to enjoy being there, you know. And to understand that if somebody's not there yet, it's because they really, you know, are still blind and they have not perceived the purpose and reason for their existence, okay? So that's what we're looking forward in this situation here. We're looking forward to acquire. That's our true heritage. You know, to reveal the Word in all of its fullness and to walk here not as consumers, but to bring every word out of our lips, you know, to the commitment that is going to express, you know, the Father. And it's going to express all words in the fullness of His meaning and definition. And I was talking about that yesterday. That every word that is full of His meaning and definition is like a word that has a mom and a dad. That's why I use meaning for M and definitions for the D. So if a word has meaning and definition, a mom and a dad, all right, then that word, my friend, is a producer, okay? Because a word was made to be a maker and a producer of all things, because He has made and produced everything. God has made and produced everything that surrounds us. So in order for the word to come into existence as a maker and a producer, it needs to have meaning and definition. And the meaning and definition is like the mom and dad of a word. And therefore, when it's like that, then when you have the meaning and definition, it's like that's the meaning and definition is like God together inside of you. Okay, your soul is the one that carries the word. If your word inside your soul, okay, is empty of meaning and definition, which means the Alef Beyt is not there, because to inherit, you know, everything is encapsulated in the Father. All of creation is found in the mindset of the Father. Okay, what He has done in creation, He has exploded. He has given an exploded view of all that He is within. So in creation, we get to see an exploded view of all of that, and He's revealing Himself. We are here to find out all that the Dabar is, all that the Dabar has, and all that the Dabar does, revealing the character of the Alef Beyt. Okay, so that's what we come here to find out. Okay, so we inherit therefore this word, you know, and we have it in that, so that therefore the soul, that where we have the words in us, that word that's been planted in us is not going to be orphaned. You know, it's not going to be left without a father and a mother. You know, it's going to be joined. He's going to have that Tzaddiq, that journey of desire. The words and journeys are going to be in sync. Okay? So therefore, then your soul, because your soul, when it comes to God, your soul is like a female, God is like a male. So then your soul has a husband. Your soul is married to the Kadosh Baal, you know, to the sacred husband. And therefore your soul, therefore, is no longer a widow. He has a child, is a producer. The Dabar in you is a producer. And that's how you enter into the intimacy of your Maker, and that's how you get to know, you know, and that's why He called Israel, you know, His wife. He's the husband. I'm thy husband, and all that. So that's the intimacy that He's talking about, okay? So the thing is, the people that do not inherit words with the meaning and definition, they carry the Dabar in them, but the soul is a widow, and the Dabar in them is an orphan. And that's what God doesn't like. He doesn't like for the widow and the orphan to be abandoned. And He's talking in respect to the soul and the Dabar that lies within the soul. Okay, we're getting now to the nitty-gritty of the real essence of why the Torah was given. Understand? That's what I want to give you, and that's what I want to convey to you. That's our true heritage. Okay? And only the Alef Bet reveals that. So we therefore got to acquire that completeness, okay? And be in tune with that mindset. So that the words that come out of us are always in fullness, always bringing the prodigy, the child of production, the child that is the maker, the child that is the maintainer, the Dabar in us, that's coming out of us, therefore is the manifestation of the Dabar of God, projecting itself through us. And therefore, that's how we get to enjoy the verse that says, be still, and watch me do all the work. So therefore, your soul sits back, and everything that you do, you're recognizing that it is God in you that is doing a magnificent orchestration of His revelation so you can see Him. I wanted to show you something that I wrote today. Let me see if I can find it here. It had to do with the QOF today. Let me see. Okay, where did I put it in here? I think I moved it out of the place. 828, here it goes. Okay, this is something I wrote today early in the morning when I woke up. It says, the bar, you see the word, has been left enslaved in a spirit of wantonness, in the time in which we have lived so far. And but with the Aleph Beth, with the knowledge of the Aleph Beth, you see, what's going to happen is my desire. That's why I wrote here, my desire, what I want. Because to me, the Dabar is the most valuable asset there is anywhere. It's better than gold, better than everything. But guess with the Dabar, with the word, God said, abracadabra, which means I'll create as I speak. I will create as I say it. Okay, so that everything that exists, that comes to creation, is coming from the everything that is in the saying of God. So in other words, when the magicians say this is, I will create out of nothing, I will create something, and they think that something is being created out of nothing. But when they say that, they're saying that the saying of God is nothing, and when it comes into this world and manifests out of the dust, then it's something. And that's the wrong way to look. In the Hebrew saying, I will create as I say, or I will create as I speak. That's what abracadabra means, which means the saying or the word is higher than what manifests itself upon this world. So that means I will poop out of the saying. The saying is everything. What comes out of the saying is the creation that comes out of the Creator is the poop. What is the everything is the saying. The word, the Dabar, that's everything. Because that's why Deuteronomy, the Hadabarim, which is Deuteronomy, that means the words of the things, because they're one and the same thing. Once it comes out of it, then it's just something that has come out of it, and it needs for us to be taken care of. In any case, it's a poop in a sense that God cannot take it back to get some benefit out of it. He can only give his attention to it to take care of it, because even the poop that comes out of us, we just don't leave it there. Okay, we have to create a whole system to dispose of it. There's a whole toiletry system, that goes there. Then the water has to take it out to different places. So when the poop gets out of you, even needs to have some time to be taken care of, because you just can't leave it abandoned there. Like most dogs, especially in the cities. There has to be a whole economy to take care of the poop. Okay, so even in this society, we get too caught up taking care of the poop and forget the maker, the saying. And one wonderful thing I was reading today, and I'm going to share this with you. I was reading Genesis because I was remembering the celebration, of completeness. You remember? Multiply, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. At the FMR that I said, that's what we here to have a celebration of the FMR. We're so complete that we can duplicate ourselves. That's the logo of the Resilient Garden. Okay. But you know where the FMR is found? The FMR is found in Genesis 1:22. Okay. That's like the Aleph Beth. Genesis 1 and verse 22. We started with this from the letter Aleph to the verse 22, which is the tab. It's only 22 letters. But interesting thing, so it's very constant. I was thinking about that. And you know what word is found in there? God came to them and God say unto them, be fruitful and multiply. But the word say, it's not Dabar. It's another word. When you say it, the Dabar is the word that is presented to you, the whole plan that is included. So when you say the word, it doesn't mean it's as a whole plan that's going to be described to you. A whole economy that's going to elaborately be described with you. Okay, but when it says the saying, when God said this, let there be light, all this word saying, the word is Amar. Okay, and it has to do with the Alef, Mem, and Resh. I mean, the strong solutions of the head, or the strong solutions, of the ruler. And that's the word saying. And interestingly, it sounds just like the word amar in Spanish. In Spanish, amar means to love. Okay, and it's exactly, that's the pronunciation of it. Amar, A-M-A-R, amar. And that's Genesis 1:22. So when he said to celebrate. So every time God says something to us, so everything that he says, I was thinking, when God says something, I will create as I speak, I will create as I say. And if you interpreted that understanding Spanish, I will create as I love. Because the word amar is love in Spanish. It's beautiful when you speak many languages, you can connect it with everything. But interesting, amar is the word saying, and it's in Genesis 1:22. A lot of connections are there. But it's interesting, that's a beautiful thing to think about, to meditate upon that. The fact that from when God is saying something, he's loving. He's actually loving because he's making things, he's keeping them new, he's refreshing it, he's instructing. Oh, that love of just saying something to make it and to maintain it and to instruct it, there's no end to that expression of love, So when you link it that way, it's so beautiful, So I was like meditating on that all day long, just having a good time with that thought, that out of the love of God, when he speaks, it's the love of God coming out, Amar, because that's how you say it, I mean, the pronunciation in Hebrew is Amar. When God says something, it says Amar, it says Amar is just the saying. That's how you say it in Hebrew. And the meaning of Amar in Spanish is to love. So I just thought that was very, 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 very interesting, and very encouraging. In any case, I digress, but I was trying to tell you all of this so that you realize what we have, people. We have a great inheritance, And so let me show you something that exemplifies the letter of today. Therefore, we're going to listen to the famous sermon of Martin Luther. Let me see if I can find it here, but I put it in here. All right, let freedom ring. Okay, we're going to listen to that right now. Here we go.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
So as you can see in that speech, it's interesting how he begins by saying, every valley shall be exalted and every mountain shall be made low. And that's what happens when you get a thorough understanding, you see, of the Dabar. Just like I was explaining you a little short while ago right now, a few minutes ago, how it is that the magicians and most theologians think that God made the world out of nothing. What are they saying? That the world is something and where it came from is nothing. Okay, that's what they're saying when they say that the ex nihilo, that God made the world out of nothing. And even magicians talk that way. Abracadabra means, out of nothing I'm making something. Okay? No, the thing is, out of everything, something is being pooped out. Okay, that's how to look at it. So what I've done in that is changing that phraseology. I done that verse. I exalted what was called nothing, and I put it higher than what is called everything and something, because that's what is looked at by even theologians and magicians nowadays. Abracadabra means out of nothing something has been made, when in the Hebrew says, I will create as I speak. So the speaking, the amar, the saying, that is everything. And the thing, when it was created, came out of everything, came out of what is all composure. Because out of the saying comes from the mind, from the words that are, in the mindset of God. And in that mindset is all the connections, how everything's supposed to be put together. It's all the order of all things. From the everything, from the all in all, something got pooped out. So in saying that, I've changed. I put, the low of calling it nothing, I put it high. And that earth that was called everything because it was formed by God, I put it down on the right directions. So the word is above all times. And for anybody to forsake that is to have it reversed, upside down. But it's time to change that order. And that's what God has prepared me for this season. I'm here to bring the word to this right employment. No longer to be employed for the usage. Come here. No longer to be employed just for the usage of a spirit of wantedness, but for the mindset of the producer, for the mindset of the creator, for the mindset of the Alef, that the word of us will come out of us completely anointed, a word that is empowered, a word that is a Moshiach, because it's anointed and it's empowered to be only a producer and a maker and a caretaker of all things, because that is his true royal and his splendor and valid employment for which he was made to be manifest. Remember that everything that God has made is a wordocracy. Everything is done by the word, for the word, and through the word. And everything that works in this world, every company is a wordocracy. You have to follow the manual. Everything is for the sake of that manual, through that manual, and by the manual. So it's our autocracy that takes care of all the things made by the word. And so the sooner that we remember and keep that in mind, the better off we will be, and we will not be deceived by no one. Because if we carry the definition and meaning of everything in ourselves and we associate with everybody that has that, we will be one unstoppable force that nobody in creation will be able to handle and stop us from anything. Okay, and that's the whole heritage, and that's what we have inherited as Tzaddiq. All right, so we're going to be talking more about that. But now let me read to you here. And I'm just going to read him, and I'll tell you the words. And I have him here, but the word here is this QOF, 119 verse 45. I cried. And this word cried is one that starts with the letter QOF here. And he's talking about, to just take your voice and spread it out when you translate the word. But it says, I cried with my whole heart. Hear me, O Lord. I will keep thy statutes. In other words, just like Martin Luther King was crying and shouting out, I'm declaring, I will keep my statutes. But he was declaring a dream that he wished one day we were going to get out of this world. Here, on the other hand, David already has the solid reality of everything, which is the Dabar expressed by the Torah. He's got everything in his hand. He's got the hand of God that by fashion and made everything. He's got the face of God. Everything is in the Torah. And therefore, now what am I going to do? On this QOF, on this region of space and time, I am going to cry out and declare and say that I will keep, thy statutes. I will share. The word keep is, I believe it's shamar. It means to keep and to treasure, and hold on to it like there's nothing more valuable. Because he's just announcing now to the world, these are my riches. This is what is more valuable to me. Just like people like to come and brag about their Ferrari, the mansion in Bel Air and the mansion in Beverly Hills and everything, and those are the things that they treasure. No, David is saying, I have achieved, I've arrived. My soul is no widow. My soul is married, is in sync, and I am going to treasure this. And he's bragging now, he's crying out, and he's bragging about that. Says, and I cried unto thee, save me. That's the word, complete me, make me whole, preserve me, guide me. So I'm calling unto you, and I shall keep. That's the word shamar again. I shall nourish, and I shall nurture and treasure thy testimonies. I prevented the dawning. Okay, the word preventing here is another word that has a QOF in it, and it has to do that. Before the morning rose up, I was up. Because what drives me up is not the sunlight that rises everybody in this world, but the sun of the Dabar in me that's already illuminating my whole soul. So I'm ready to go before the sun of this world is even ready to shine. I have a sunshine in me that, therefore I rise up early than everybody else because the sunrise in me, it's got so much splendor and light to show me, So it says, I prevented the dawning of the morning and cried. I hope in thy word. Okay, says I am completely, satisfied, and I have my guarantee of everything. I lean on your word. That's what my guarantee for everything is. Mine eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate. And again, that means that he stays up late at night. And that happens to you because you're so full of light. There's so much understanding that it's just flowing out of you. You're not ready to go to bed yet because that light's still shining while everybody else goes to bed, tired for all the toil of the day, ready to gain strength for the next day. My man, my lady, my man, you are ready to keep going because once God begins to speak to you and reveal his understanding, there ain't no stopping him. Okay, sometimes you got to force yourself to go to sleep and remember, oh, it's so late, man, I got to get some sleep, And so you force yourself to go to sleep, but it's not because you want to, because there's so much light that's shining out of the Dabar and of the Amar. The saying that God is spilling out the bar and opening you and connecting it to everything else. Okay, so that's what it says. And Okay, so I'm going to read that again. Mine eyes prevented the night watches, that I might meditate in thy word. You see, you keep on thinking. It says, verse 149, hear my voice according unto thy loving kindness, O Lord. This is a nice thing because the loving kindness is an endearment term that he uses, to refer to the Dabar. He called it my mercy, your loving kindness. All of those are these endearing terms that he uses for the Dabar. So hear my voice according unto thy loving kindness. In other words, listen that my words is matching up with the Dabar, with your word, O Lord. Quicken me. That means animate me, activate me according unto thy judgments. In other words, make sure that I work in sync with what you're saying, that I don't deviate, that I know exactly what you're thinking and what you're feeling, that kind of fellowship, what he's talking about. They draw nigh that follow after mischief. They are far from thy law. Okay. Thou art near. This words too, near and nigh has to also start with QOF. I can't remember right now. All these words that have 71s or the 68 and stuff like that, all these are words with QOF. So, thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are truth. That's the night yesterday we talked about, that righteousness and thy law and the Torah is truth. And now he's saying all thy mitzvahs are true. Okay, are truth. All right. And now he says, verse 152, concerning thy testimonies, I have known of old that thou hast founded them forever. All right. So concerning thy testimonies, I have known of old, from a long time ago. It's another word that has a kuf, old, as a kuf, that thou hast founded them, thou hast established them forever. So this is a magnificent, meditation upon kuf. The place, time and space that we inherit as Tzaddiqs, to be the place where we're going to portray and project, if you please, all the goodness that we find in the Godhead, that we find in the Father and the Alef, Beyt. And that's what we're going to bring to bear upon this world. And that's the beauty of it all, okay? Now, I am working tomorrow, by the way. But it's not as early as during the week. I wake up at 5 during the week, and for 5, and then sometimes until 5 in the evening, until 5 p.m. But tomorrow's going to be starting at 8. Okay, I'm going to wake up at 8 in the morning, but then I'm going to work until about 9. So I'm going to work a long day tomorrow. But there's about a couple of hours in between that during the afternoon. I think that's when I'm going to give my reading for tomorrow. Or if I don't get to do it then, if I'm too tired, then I'm going to do it at night again. Because on Sunday, I just don't work at all. All right, but this is all, that I'm glad you hope you guys, so you can enjoy this. So I'm glad you were able to join me, Brian and Andy. I hope you guys learned something from this. To me, it was a blessing to have meditated upon this lesson today. But it's wonderful, that this is our heritage, So the whole kuf, the whole sea to shining sea is awaiting all of us. So even though today the march was led by that I call it all charlatan, the world calls him all sharpton, he led the march today. And it's a lot of awful things he had to say because that man does not know the Dabar. He's just an opportunistic, leech in the spirit of wantonness, that the Dabar in him has just suffered a great deal because he had only used it in the spirit of wantonness. And everybody that just employed the Dabar in them, or the word that is in them in the spirit of wantonness, have distorted. It's like they've done an abortion to that word. That word is nowhere near reflecting the mindset of God. So it's completely twisted, and that's how it says in the scripture, they have done violence to the Torah, because the Torah, the teachings already regulating humanity, are not doing anything to express the character of God. It's completely twisted and it's expressing something else. And so that's why the whole wicked are in that state, And so that's what you need to understand. But in the middle of this, God is giving us through the Alef, Beyt, an understanding that there is hope. Because we're completing that word, and if this world has come to the scenario where it is right now with a pandemic and everything, yet we know where we stand, and we're ready to shine, and we're ready to project them. And that's what really matters. All right, so let me close with I think I want to close with the Shema Israel song, if I can find it here. I think I have that. Yeah, here we go. Back up 2:14. For the earth will be as full of the knowledge of Adonai's glory as water covering the sea.
From afar, he's in the burning in thick rising snow. His lips are full to the brim with fury. His tongue a consuming fire. His breath is like an overflowing stream that rises high to squeeze upon the land, to sieve the nations with the sieve of vanity, and put a bride all in the people's mouth to lead them astray. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. He repays according to their deeds, fury to his foes, reprisal to his enemies. To the coastlands he will repay their due. In the west they will fear the name of Adonai, and likewise in the east his glory. For he will come like a pent-up stream, impelled by the Spirit of Adonai. Then a Redeemer will come to Zion, to those in Jacob who turn from rebellion. So says Adonai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Adonai Echad. Then I will change the peoples so that they will help your lips to call on the name of Adonai, all of them, and serve him with one accord. And he shall judge many peoples, rebuking strong nations afar. The skill to destroy will be instead peace or joy. They won't teach war anymore. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shemo Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shemo Adonai Eloheinu Adonai